The United Kingdom is an island nation situated off the northwestern coast of mainland Europe. It consists of the entire island of Great Britain, encompassing England, Wales, and Scotland, along with the northern part of Ireland. The term Britain is occasionally utilized to denote the United Kingdom in its entirety. London serves as the capital city, recognized as one of the globe's premier commercial, financial, and cultural hubs. Notable urban centers within the country include Birmingham, Liverpool, and Manchester in England, Belfast and Londonderry in Northern Ireland, Edinburgh and Glasgow in Scotland, as well as Swansea and Cardiff in Wales. The United Kingdom's origins can be traced back to the time of the Anglo-Saxon King Athelstan in the early 10th century CE. He secured the allegiance of neighboring Celtic kingdoms and became the first to rule over what was previously shared by many kings. Over the centuries, through conquest, more distant kingdoms came under English dominion. Wales, a collection of Celtic kingdoms in Great Britain's southwest, was formally united with England through the Acts of Union of 1536 and 1542. Scotland, ruled from London since 1603, was officially joined with England and Wales in 1707 to create the United Kingdom of Great Britain. The term British was first used during this period to refer to all the people of the kingdom. Ireland fell under English control in the 1600s and was formally united with Great Britain through the Act of Union of 1800. The Republic of Ireland gained independence in 1922. But 6 of Ulster's 9 counties remain part of the United Kingdom as Northern Ireland. Relations between these states and England have been marked by controversy, rebellion, and warfare. Tensions eased somewhat in the late 20th century with the introduction of devolved assemblies in Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. However, even with the establishment of a power-sharing assembly after referenda in both Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, relations between Unionists and Nationalists in Northern Ireland remained strained into the 21st century. The United Kingdom has played a significant role in the global economy, particularly in the fields of technology and industry. However, since World War II, the country has primarily exported its cultural contributions, such as literature, theater, film, television, and popular music, which draw inspiration from all regions of the nation. One of Britain's most notable exports is the English language, which has become a leading international medium for cultural and economic exchange, spoken in every corner of the world. The United Kingdom maintains connections with its former empire through the Commonwealth and also benefits from historical and cultural ties with the United States. Additionally, it is a member of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization (NATO) and joined the European Union in 1973. Despite this, many Britons have had reservations about EU membership, echoing the sentiments of Winston Churchill, who famously stated, "We are with Europe, but not of it." In a referendum held in June 2016, 52% of British voters chose to leave the EU, leading to a lengthy process of negotiations, deadline extensions, domestic political disagreements, and changes in leadership. Eventually, an agreement on Brexit was reached, satisfying both the EU and the majority of Parliament. Consequently, on January 31, 2020, the United Kingdom became the first country to formally withdraw from the EU. The United Kingdom is made up of 4 distinct parts: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. It encompasses the majority of the land and population of the British Isle, which is the term used to refer to the group of islands that includes Great Britain, Ireland, and several smaller islands. Great Britain consists of England, Wales, and Scotland, making it the larger of the 2 main islands. The second largest island, Ireland, is divided into Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. England, located in the southern part of Great Britain, includes the Isles of Scilly off the southwest coast and the Isle of Wight off the southern coast. Scotland, situated in the northern part of Great Britain, includes the Orkney and Shetland Islands off the northern coast, as well as the Hebrides off the northwestern coast. Wales is positioned to the west of England and includes the island of Anglesey in the northwest. Apart from the land border with the Irish Republic, the United Kingdom is surrounded by sea. To the south of England and between the United Kingdom and France is the English Channel. The North Sea lies to the east, to the west of Wales and northern England and to the southeast of Northern Ireland. The Irish Sea separates Great Britain from Ireland, while southwestern England, the northwestern coast of Northern Ireland, and western Scotland face the Atlantic Ocean. At its widest, the United Kingdom is 300 miles 5 miles across, from the northern tip of Scotland to the southern coast of England. It is about 600 miles. About 600 miles. No part is more than 75 miles km from the sea. The capital, London, is situated on the tidal River Thames in southeastern England. The archipelago, consisting of Great Britain and numerous smaller islands, displays a unique irregular shape, reflecting a diverse geology and landscape. This diversity is primarily influenced by the underlying rocks, which are extensions of European structures, with former land links hidden beneath the shallow waters of the Strait of Dover and the North Sea. Northern Ireland shares rock structures with Scotland, which are intersected by the narrow North Channel. Despite covering a relatively small area on a global scale, similar to the size of the U.S. state of Oregon or the African country of Guinea, the archipelago's internal diversity and rapid changes in scenery offer visitors from larger countries a sense of compactness and consolidation. The people who have inhabited this Atlantic region of Eurasia over the centuries have left their mark on the environment, with ancient field patterns and settlements adding to the natural diversity. Great Britain has historically been divided into two distinct regions, the Highland and the Lowland zone. This division can be roughly represented by a line that stretches from the mouth of the River Yexi in the southwest to the mouth of the Tees in the northeast. However, a more precise indication of the Highlands' extent can be determined by following the course of the 700-foot to 13-meter contour, or the boundary that separates the older rocks of the north and west from the younger southeastern strata. The formation of the Highlands underwent a lengthy progression. However, the altitudes, in contrast to those found in Europe, are relatively modest. The highest peak, Ben Nevis, stands at a mere 4,406 feet above sea level. Furthermore, the truly mountainous regions exceeding 2,000 feet frequently transform into elevated plateaus characterized by their comparatively even surfaces, serving as remnants of past erosion processes. Scotland is characterized by three main topographic regions that align with the northeast to southwest direction of the ancient underlying rocks. The Northern Highlands and the Southern Uplands are separated by the Midland Valley, also known as the Central Lowlands, which is a rift valley or subsided structural block. The core of the Highlands consists of the Grampian Mountains, which have been worn down over time and are elevated between 1,000 and 3,600 feet above sea level. The Cairngorm Mountains, reaching elevations of over 4,000 feet, add to the grandeur of this mountainous landscape. These majestic mountains are intersected by wide valleys known as straths. The eastern part of Scotland features occasional large lowland areas, often bordered by long lines of sand dunes, providing a contrast to the mountainous terrain. The Buchan Peninsula, the Moray Firth estuarine flats, and the Plain of Caithness are examples of low-lying areas that exhibit smoother outlines compared to the glacier-scoured landscapes of the west. In the west, northeast-facing hollows called corries, separated by knife-edge ridges and deep glens, shape the surfaces left by previous erosion. The presence of numerous freshwater lakes further enhances the wild beauty of the landscape. Glenmore, a linear valley where the Caledonian Canal now runs through a chain of lakes including Loch Ness, is the result of a significant sideways tear in the northwest Highlands. To the northwest of Glenmore, the land is predominantly divided into agricultural smallholdings known as crofts, with intermittent settlements mostly along the coast. This settlement pattern reflects the extensive dissection of the Highland Massif by Ice Age glaciers. The mountains in Scotland are also characterized by sea-drowned river valleys, known as fjords, which penetrate deeply into the landscape. The outliers of these mountains rise from the sea, forming elongated peninsulas or hundreds of offshore islands. Compared to the Scottish Highlands, the southern uplands of Scotland have a more gentle terrain, with elevations that never go beyond 2,800 feet. The primary mountain ranges are the Cheviots, which reach a height of 2,676 feet, while only Merrick and Broadlaw surpass the 2,700-foot contour line. These uplands are characterized by broad plateaus separated by numerous valleys, and in the western region, most rivers flow in a northeast-southwest direction, following the general slope of the plateau towards the Solway Firth or the Firth of Clyde. Occasionally, striking granite formations and the rugged remnants of past glaciers create a mountainous landscape. In the eastern part, the valley network of the River Tweed and its tributaries form a wide expanse of lowland between the Lammermoor and Cheviot Hills. The Midland Valley is situated between significant regular structural faults. The boundary to the north, adjacent to the Highlands, is characterized by a wall-like escarpment, while the boundary with the southern uplands is only sharp near the coast. This extensive trench is not a continuous plain, as high ground often composed of robust, resistant masses of volcanic rock can be seen in all directions, towering over the low-lying areas bordering the rivers and the deeply penetrating estuaries of the Firth of Clyde and the Firth of Forth. In Northern Ireland, structural extensions of the Scottish Highlands are evident in the generally rugged mountainous landscape and the peat-covered peaks of the Sperrin Mountains, which reach a height of 2,241 feet. The uplands in the historic counties Down and Armagh are the western extension of Scotland's southern uplands, but areas with elevations exceeding 500 feet are limited, the notable exception being the Mourne Mountains, a picturesque group of granite peaks, the highest of which, Slieve Donard, stands at 2,789 feet just 2 miles from the sea. In the central region of Northern Ireland, equivalent to Scotland's Midland Valley, a vast plateau has been formed by the outpouring of basaltic lavas, much of which is occupied by the shallow Lough Neagh, the largest freshwater lake in the British Isles. The Highland zone of England and Wales is composed of 4 main upland masses: the Pennines, the Cumbrian Mountains, the Cambrian Mountains, and the Southwest Peninsula. Moving from north to south, these uplands form a distinct geographical feature. While the Pennines are typically considered to end at the River Tyne Gap in the north, there are hills in Northumberland that share similarities with the northern Pennines in terms of surface features. The Pennines themselves are characterized by a smoothly arched backbone, known as an anticline, which is asymmetric in shape. Despite being deep, the valleys within the Pennines occupy a relatively small portion of the total area, resulting in vast stretches of windswept moorland that appear almost devoid of distinct features. This is particularly evident in the landscape surrounding Alston, in Cumbria, where the area is isolated by faults on its north, west, and south sides, creating a rectangular block of high moorland plateau with isolated peaks rising above it. Moving southwards, the Pennine Plateau is dissected by deep and picturesque dales, with craggy sides composed of millstone grit. These dales are home to streams that cascade down in waterfalls. The southernmost part of the Pennines is a grassy upland, reaching heights of over 2,000 feet above sea level in certain areas. This region is characterized by dry valleys, steep-sided gorges, and an underground drainage system consisting of streams and caverns formed by limestone. It is quite different from the expected bleak moorland typically associated with such elevations. At lower altitudes, the larger dales are richly wooded, with trees standing out against the backdrop of rugged white-gray cliffs. On both sides of the Pennines, older rocks give way to younger layers, and the uplands gradually merge into coastal lowlands. The Cumbrian Mountains, renowned for the picturesque lake district that inspired the poetry of William Wordsworth and other lake poets, form a compact and isolated mountain range located to the west of the northern Pennines. The northern Cumbrian Mountains are characterized by deep gorges, narrow ridges, and sharp peaks, all composed of resilient slate rock. On the other hand, the southern region of the mountains consists of vast expanses of level upland, which were shaped by thick layers of lava and volcanic ash ejected by ancient volcanoes. This volcanic belt, predominantly an uneven upland, is intersected by deep, narrow valleys and encompasses notable peaks such as Scafell Pike, the highest point in England at 3,210 feet, and Helvellyn, standing at 3,116 feet. The mountain range exhibits a classic radial drainage pattern, with 9 rivers flowing outward in all directions from the central uplifted dome. These valleys, often adorned with elongated lakes, have been sculpted into a U-shape by glacial activity. Glaciers have also carved quarries into the mountainsides and deposited debris in the form of moraines. Additionally, the glacial action has resulted in the formation of several hanging valleys by truncating former tributary valleys. The Cambrian Mountains, situated at the heart of Wales, are clearly delineated by the sea, except on the eastern side where a steep slope often indicates the transition to the English lowlands. Over time, cycles of erosion have worn down the ancient and stark surfaces. Many of the topographic features are a result of glacial processes, while some of the most impressive scenery is a product of past volcanic activity. The mountainous regions above 2,000 feet are most prominent in North Wales, encompassing Snowdonia named after Snowdon near Wydfa, the highest peak in Wales at 3,560 feet, as well as its southeastern extensions, Cadair Idris and Berwyn. Central Wales, with the exception of Plinlimmon and the Radnor Forest, lacks similar high-altitude areas. However, the Monadnocks of South Wales, particularly the Black Mountains and the Brecon Beacons, stand out in solitary grandeur above the upland surfaces. There are three distinct surfaces: a high plateau ranging from 1,700 to 1,800 feet, a middle peneplain, or worn-down surface, ranging from 1,200 to 1,600 feet, and a low peneplain ranging from 700 to 1,100 feet. These smooth, rounded, grass-covered moorlands offer a remarkably uniform skyline. Below 700 feet, there are additional former wave-cut surfaces. Numerous valleys extend from the highland core to the coastal areas. In the west, these lowlands have preserved traditional Welsh culture, while the deeply incised eastern valleys have introduced English culture into the highland regions. A more expansive lowland, which is a physical and structural extension of the English lowlands, borders the Bristol Channel in the southeast. The 600-mile Welsh coastline displays various adaptations to the relentless force of the sea. The southwest, which is the largest peninsula in England, is characterized by 6 prominent uplands: Exmoor, where Dunkery Beacon stands at a height of 1,704 feet; the rugged, granite uplands of Dartmoor, reaching 2,038 feet at High Willhays; Bodmin Moor, Hensborough, Carnbury, and the Penwith Upland, which forms the stunning tip of Land's End. Granite also emerges above the sea in the Isles of Scilly, located 28 miles further southwest. Despite variations in elevation, the landscape in the southwest, like many other parts of the United Kingdom, exhibits a notable uniformity in summit heights. There is a high series of peaks ranging between 1,000 and 1,400 feet, a middle group between 700 and 1,000 feet, and coastal plateaus ranging from 200 to 400 feet. The region is characterized by a network of deep, narrow valleys alternating with flat-topped, step-like areas that rise inland. The Southwest's appeal lies in its peninsular nature, which contributes to its renowned physical beauty. The coastline boasts dramatic headlands and stunning estuaries formed by changes in sea level, making it unparalleled in its diversity. The lowland region, as determined by the 700-foot contour line, begins at the Solway Firth in the northwest. It stretches along a strip of low-lying land that follows the Vale of Eden, which is directed by a fault and encompasses the River Eden. Moving southward, the narrow coastal plain that borders the Lake District expands into the flat plains of Lancashire and Cheshire, covered by glacial drift and characterized by slow-flowing rivers. The lowlands remain continuous east of the Pennine Ridge, except for the limestone plateau located north of the River Tees and the North York Moors to the south. These moors consist of large exposed areas with elevations exceeding 1,400 feet. To the west of the North York Moors lies the wide Vale of York, which merges with the East Midland Plain in the south. The younger rocks of the Midlands come to an end at the edge of the Cambrian Mountains in the west. Moving southward, the lowland extends along the flat landscapes that border the lower River Severn. It becomes narrower due to the complex Bristol-Mendip upland, and then opens up again into the extensive and flat plain of Somerset. The eastern horizon of much of the Midland Plain is defined by the scarp face of the Cotswolds. This is part of a discontinuous outcrop of limestones and sandstones that stretches from the Dorset coast in southern England to the Cleveland Hills on the north coast of Yorkshire. The larger limestones and sandstones give rise to impressive escarpments reaching heights of 1,000 feet. However, the dip slope often has such a low angle that the countryside resembles a dissected plateau, gradually transitioning into the clay vales of Oxford, White Horse, Lincoln, and Pickering. The flat landscapes of the once marshy fens, which have been reclaimed, are also underlain by these clays. The next scarp, the western-facing chalk outcrop known as the Cuesta, undergoes several noticeable directional changes in the vicinity of the Wash, a shallow arm of the North Sea. The chalk escarpment is a more prominent and uninterrupted feature compared to the sandstone and limestone outcrops further to the west. It commences in the north with the expansive rolling terrain known as the Yorkshire Wolds, where heights of 750 feet are reached. This escarpment is intersected by the River Humber, and then extends into the Lincolnshire Wolds. Towards the east of the fens, the escarpment is quite low, barely reaching 150 feet, but it gradually ascends to the 807-foot Ivinghoe Beacon in the picturesque Chiltern Hills. Numerous wind gaps, or former river channels, disrupt the escarpment, and the River Thames actually traverses through it in the Goring Gap. In areas where the chalk's dip slope is nearly horizontal, such as the open Salisbury Plain, the landscape takes the form of a vast dissected plateau with elevations ranging from 350 to 500 feet. The primary valleys are home to rivers, while the remaining valleys are dry. The chalk outcrop extends into Dorset, but in the southern region, the chalk has been folded along west to east axis. Depressions, subsequently filled with geologically recent sands and clays, now occupy the London and Hampshire basins. The former, an asymmetrical synclinal lowland encircled by chalk, is predominantly characterized by gravel terraces and valley-side benches with relatively minimal floodplain. The latter is similarly embraced by a chalk belt, but the southern edge, or monocline, has been eroded by the sea in two locations, giving rise to the picturesque Isle of Wight. The Weald of Kent in Sussex is situated between two synclinal areas, with an anticlinal dome rising up structurally. Over time, the arch of this geological upfold has eroded away, resulting in the inward-facing chalk escarpments of the North and South Downs. These escarpments enclose a series of exposed clay veils and sandstone ridges in a concentric manner. Along the coast, the English Channel waters have eroded and undermined the upfold, creating a stunning sequence of chalk cliffs that face the European mainland. Located 21 miles away at the Strait of Dover, the narrowest part of the English Channel. And that's a wrap, folks. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more awesome content. Ring the bell to stay updated with our latest uploads. Got any thoughts or questions? Drop me a comment below. I love hearing from you. Check out my other videos right here on the screen for more great content. And remember, stay curious, keep exploring, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care and keep shining. Hold on a sec, I am not finished yet. Follow me on social media: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube obviously. Thank you for watching, and a huge shout out to our subscribers and Patreon supporters for making this possible. You're the real MVPs. Signing off, peace out.